I never thought my own family would go so far as to block me from attending my father's 60th birthday. Yet there I was, standing on the marble steps of the Elmssworth, my sister Elise planted like a gatekeeper in her designer heels. "You're not serious," I said, adjusting my black silk dress. One simple seam more expensive than Elise's car payment. Not that she'd know. "Is Dad too?" I asked. Elise smirked. "Delilah, this isn't lunch at Panera. The Elmsworth is exclusive. Only people who represent the family well are welcome." The irony nearly made me laugh. Just yesterday, I'd signed off on a $160 million expansion plan for the Elmsworth. And today, I was apparently not even allowed inside one of my own hotels. 10 years ago, I walked away from the family's sleepy tax consultancy in Milwaukee to chase a dream in luxury hospitality. My father's parting words echoed in my head. No daughter of mine is going to be a glorified concierge. I let them believe that's exactly what I became. While they assumed I was folding napkins, I built Del Haven Estates into one of North America's fastest-growing luxury hotel groups, 28 five-star properties across 3 countries. My mother's voice cut through the cold air. "What are you doing here?" I showed her the white envelope in my hand. Inside, the deed to a private hillside villa in Lake Co., part of my latest collection. My plan. Present it tonight, both as a birthday gift and a quiet unveiling of the truth. Elise laughed. "An Amazon gift card?" "Something like that," I said faintly. My mother eyed my hand-stitched Italian leather clutch, its understated elegance a quiet reminder of the life I'd built. "I'm sure your sister's gift is more appropriate. She just made junior partner at her firm." I knew the truth. That firm was negotiating to lease 2 floors in one of my buildings. "Elise is doing well," she said, pride in her voice. "And you, at least you're trying." "Yes," I said, thinking of my penthouse in London, my collector cars, my private jet. "At least I'm trying." Elise smirked. "Speaking of effort, that dress. The Elmsworth is not a truck stop." I looked down at the silk draped perfectly over my frame. "It's what I could manage," I said evenly. "Well, you can't come in," Elise said flatly. "VIP floor only. Family and distinguished guests." The VIP floor. My floor. Curated, renovated, personally commissioned. The distinguished guests she mentioned were all leasing from me or begging for invitations I could grant with a signature. "Very important," I said, biting back a smile. Charles appeared, nervous as always. "What's taking so long?" He froze when he saw me. "Delilah didn't expect you here," he stammered. "Clearly not," I said, voice cool. "Assistant manager at some cafe chain," Elise jabbed. "Something like that," I said lightly. That morning, I'd approved the acquisition of Charles's bank. The ink was practically dry. I glanced through the arched entryway into the Elmsworth lobby, marble floors, Murano glass chandeliers, modernist paintings I sourced across Europe. For a moment, I considered walking away. Let them have their curated fantasy. But then I remembered the words of my first mentor. Success means little if you can't look someone in the eye and own it. I stood taller, heels clicking on granite. "I think I'll stay," I said quietly. Before my mother could respond, the glass doors hissed open. James, my right-hand man since my first hotel purchase, stepped out. "Is everything all right, Madam CEO? Your usual table is ready." Silence. "They said I couldn't afford to dine here," I said, smiling at the stunned cluster of relatives. "Ma'am, you own the Elmsworths and the entire Del Haven chain," James interjected. "Yes, I do," I said, gesturing toward the entrance. "Shall we go inside?" I looked at Elise. "I believe you reserved the VIP floor," Charles faltered. "This has to be a joke. You're just a restaurant manager." "Miss Caldwell is the founder and CEO of Del Haven Hospitality Group," James said evenly. "She owns all 17 Elmsworth hotels across 3 countries, along with our resorts and fine dining brands." Elise's designer clutch hit the marble with a loud clack. She tried to speak, but no words came. The Elmssworth brand is worth billions, I finished smoothly. Which makes your comment about me not affording the tasting menu rather amusing. I stepped into the heart of the hotel. The lobby staff straightened at my presence, offering polite nods and warm greetings. "Good evening, Miss Caldwell," said Lena at the front desk. "The executive suite is ready for the celebration." I turned to my family, still hovering at the threshold. "Coming." They followed in stunned silence, eyes sweeping the marble floors, bespoke lighting, and art installations. "My dress?" my mother finally asked, uncertain. "Custom," I said casually. "Paris, around 30,000 if I remember right." I led them to the private elevator, key card in hand. Unlike Elise's dress, which is, well, a knockoff. The VIP lounge was already hushed. My father rose. "What are you doing here?" "Your mother said you couldn't afford it," I replied. I handed him the envelope. "Happy birthday, Dad. Hope you don't mind me crashing the party in my own hotel." A few guests gasped. Mr. Grayson from the bank stepped forward. "Miss Caldwell, I had no idea." Thomas Fairchild, leasing 3 of my downtown properties, added, "Your daughter is the mystery CEO quietly acquiring the best real estate in the city." My father slumped. "We thought you were just a glorified waitress." "No, Dad, I just kept my head down while building everything you said I couldn't." "But why didn't you tell us?" my mother demanded. "Would you have believed me?" I asked, calm. "You didn't believe in me 10 years ago. Why would I share my success with people who only measure worth by last names and bank balances?" Elise sank into a chair, pale. "The villa in France mine?" "Yes," I said calmly. "Just like the office your firm struggles to lease, Charles, and the resort membership, Mother." "We save it," I said, raising my hand. "I didn't do this to humiliate you. I did it because I'm done shrinking to protect your egos." I gestured around the room. "Everything tonight is on the house. My house." The celebration shifted. Guests who barely acknowledged me before now hung on every word. Deals were requested. Apologies were whispered. My family sat as spectators in a stadium turned on them. Later, on the terrace, my father pointed to the skyline. "How many do you own?" "Enough," I said, joining him. "Including the building your family firm occupies." "I was wrong about you, Delilah, so terribly wrong," he admitted. "Forgiveness isn't the issue," I said. "Respect is. You never respected my choices." I smiled faintly. "Now you can tell your friends your daughter owns the Elmssworth. That should make for an interesting dinner party." I left them there and headed to my private office. Tomorrow, everything would be different. If you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or told you weren't enough, leave a comment below. I read every message, and your voice matters here. And if you believe in quiet strength, long games, and proving them wrong without raising your voice, subscribe. Hit that like button, share this story, and join me for the next chapter. Build in silence. Succeed anyway.